All right, another episode. It's been a little while, mainly because I haven't done much. Just been driving, revising the tune, getting that all kind of finalized. Doing pretty good. Just a couple little minor things we're working through with the tune. It's driving beautifully right now. There's just a couple little minor things with basically just low speed kind of parking lot driving and just the way it kind of so basically, because I have a cam in there, when you're low idle, it's kind of starved for air. And because I have cats, there's a lot of tweaking that needs to be done, because when you have cats, it does so the way the tuner described it to me is when you basically come out of like a decel and fuel has been cut off because you're decelerating and there's no need for fuel to kind of fire in the engine. So what it does is when it kind of comes out of that, it will do a quick fuel dump to heat the cat back up. It's just kind of like a real quick occurrence where it dumps a quick little bit of fuel in there. Well, what's happening is there's not enough air for that fuel, so it actually goes really rich for a second, just like really quick. And you typically don't feel that, but at the moment right now, I'm feeling it. It's very, very faint now. The tuner's actually worked it out quite a bit to where like you barely feel it anymore. It mildly registers on the my air fuel gauge, or my wideband gauge, but that's kind of what we're working through now. So that's pretty much kind of like the last thing, I think. Other than that, driving it around, it drives really good. I mean, it's the best it's ever driven. So work through that last little thing and then may tweak some of the shift points and stuff. Currently it shifts like it has a shift kit in it. I might have him soften that up a little. Don't really mind it when I do wide open throttle runs, but it's kind of like when I kind of do about a 3/4 to a half throttle, it's kind of a little bit too much. So yeah, kind of getting to the final stages, but because of that, and it's been driving nice, I've actually taken on a little kind of gravel road shakedown run last weekend. I posted that, a couple photos on Instagram of that, just kind of showing that off. But did that, been taking it quite a bit of places, driving it around, putting some miles on it, and just kind of enjoying it. So I haven't really messed with anything at the moment. But I did want to revisit this because I'm going to try to get this addressed this week. So if you remember, I had discussed switching my drive shaft in the truck. If you remember, I have an adapter piece that's probably about that thick, and then I have just a bolt-on flange for the front drive shaft where it goes into the diff. This is the transfer case flange, which is very similar to the diff flange. And if you remember in a previous video, I talked about how I had bought this Resepa joint or CV joint, and I was going to have this basically attached to the drive shaft and switch it to a Resepa to be able to run this. I'm trying to get this apart, but be able to run this so that I could bolt to the differential. And the problem was, and I think I covered this in a previous video, is this does not sit flat. So, I looked at how to get that figured out and decided that I was just going to break down and buy a factory Driveshaft. So they've been on back order for a while, but I was able to find a used front Driveshaft for a Colorado. I didn't have mine anymore. I had sent it to have the adapter fabricated off of it. But I found one at a junkyard. A little pricey, but we'll make it work. I actually ended up I actually have a brand new one as well. So I was using this kind of just to check mainly the Resepa on the factory one. So that those don't know, the factory Colorado has a plunging Resepa on both sides. You can see it plunging down there. Bolts onto the transfer case, bolts onto the diff. I believe you can go any way with that. It's not directional. But yeah, basically, I've discovered the difference is if you look, this is an internal kind of cup or cover where the cap goes on the inside, and these pieces, these little lip things, are actually flat. So that allows it to be able to sit flush on there and get bolted in. So the plan for this week is I'm going to pull my front drive shaft probably in like 2 days. And I'm going to take it to my local drive shaft shop. And I'm going to take the new drive shaft, since the Resepa joint will be new. And I'm going to just have them cut this off and weld it to the drive shaft I currently have. And hopefully this will allow the angle that I can't get right to not really matter. And hopefully that binding goes away. It still does the binding. It's not a drastic bind, but it's enough that it does heat up the U-joint on my drive shaft, and it is probably going to eventually blow the U-joint prematurely, and I'd rather get that addressed now and get rid of the binding. Another thing, so I was able to get it up to a scale and measure the truck, or weigh the truck, I should say. And we're sitting at 5560. That is with a full tank of gas as well. So running some just kind of quick numbers and posting in the groups, had some people comment and say that people that have weighed their factory stock Colorado fully wet, meaning, you know, gas and fluids in it, they're hitting about 5,000. So we're 560 pounds over that, but I am not stuck. I have 35-inch tires with wheels. These are E-rated mud terrains. I believe when I've weighed these compared to stock, they're at least 50, probably even more. Probably about 50 pounds a piece over factory. So that's 200, and then I have a full-size spare with the same tire wheel. So we've added 250 just in wheels and tires. My sliders are not factory. They're not the rock sliders that come on the ZR2. They are frame mounted. They're pretty beefy. I'd probably say they're easily 50 to 75 pounds more than the factory ones, probably more than that. I also had the Diamondback cover on. We'll say that's another 75, so another 150. So we're at 400 right there. And then whatever I have in the back, which I have shackles, axe, shovel, let's see what else. You know, a bunch of recovery gear in a toolbox. We also have full metal bumper on the front, full winch. So I think it's kind of safe to say that our 5560, if I were all stock with stock wheels and tires, stock bumper, stock sliders, nothing in the bed, I'd say we'd probably be about the same weight. I think that's safe to say. Maybe a tad heavier, but it's not much. I don't know if I had covered this before, but when I did kind of get this back together, I did have to lower my front suspension from what it was before I did the V8, which kind of made me think that I had a little bit less weight in the front. But unless I can fully measure and weigh all of the kind of add-ons, I'm probably not going to get a full accurate number. So these are just kind of estimates, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that the V8 didn't add any weight. Especially if we compare a diesel, I'd say we're probably between a gas and a diesel. As far as weight, I would think that going from a diesel to this is probably going to lighten it, and going from a gas V6 to the V8 is probably adding very minimal amount of weight. Wish I could be a lot more accurate than that, but it is what it is. I mean, I was already kind of modded before we did this project, so I couldn't really get an accurate weight beforehand anyways. But I got it weighed. I wanted to get it weighed to see what it weighed. I don't think 5560 is really that much for this thing, especially considering all the stuff I have added to it. It definitely doesn't pull like it's struggling with that weight. But yeah, so I'll work on getting this situated this week, and probably post up a video with the new Driveshaft setup installed in the truck, and let you guys know how the binding issue is and if it got resolved. And then next weekend I might actually try to get that thrust block in the truck. I've been waiting for a new e-locker, but thinking about it, I was like, you know what, let's just throw that thrust block in there and just get it, going, and seeing if it actually wears and kind of just how it does while I'm still waiting for that e-locker. And worst comes to worst, it doesn't do anything, and or it makes things worse, and I end up just having to throw a new e-locker in there anyways. But I did get one ordered. It's just a matter of when they come off back order. I think right now they're showing July 2nd. It's mid-May right now, but it's gone from July 2nd. I'm sorry, it's gone from beginning of June to July 2nd. So that could get pushed out even farther. So just keep my fingers crossed that brass or bronze thrust block works, and we have the rear at least running nice. I could definitely tell the rear is not 100%. I can hear that thrust block. Basically, when I'm coming to a stop, if it kind of rolls back a little, it does move. And when I hit the gas again, I can feel it slapping up against the spider gear, because it kind of does this when you shift from forward to reverse, or the back kind of moves forward and reverse. And I could definitely hear it. So hopefully that thrust block at least eliminates that, so it actually feels a little smoother, because that does make me a little leery driving it sometimes and really wanting to get on it. I don't want that thing because if that thing spins in there and it snaps the bolt, the pin will drop and it'll just it'll basically shave the pumpkin and ruin the rear end. So hopefully this bronze one works out, and Hopefully the next video will be covering the drive shaft and the thrust block. I will do a video showing the removal of that. Even if it doesn't work out, I'll still post that just to kind of show if someone wants to pull their thrust block for some reason. But that's kind of it for now, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Wish I could have showed you guys more, but don't really have anything at the moment.